Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another book review on ForgottenWeapons.com. I'm Ian McCollum, and the book we're looking at today is Handbook of Machine Gun Support Equipment and Accessories, 1895 to 1945 by Mr. Robert Segel. Now, you may recognize Mr. Segel's name as he was editor of Small Arms Review magazine for many years, and he has long been a collector of both machine guns and machine gun accessories and spare parts and tools. And that has created a very interesting specialty, which is the subject of his recent book. Now, I don't know if you've ever looked at like a gunner's kit for a machine gun at a gun show or at a museum, but you open the thing up and it's just this nightmare hodgepodge of little widgety things. Some of them are spare parts, some of them are springs, some of them are tools, some of them are cleaning equipment, some of them are accessories, and it can be extremely difficult to try and figure out what's what. In particular, if you have a kit that's not complete, trying to figure out, okay, what am I missing? Or like, here's this tool, what's it supposed to do? Or even more difficult, when you find just a tool and like, what country is this from first, and then what gun does it go for, and then what does it actually do on that gun? Figuring out the answers to those questions is the intention of this book. Now, it's not a comprehensive guide. Of course, you can see from the title that it is deliberately limited to 1895 to 1945. So we're talking about effectively the first machine guns through the end of World War II. This doesn't cover modern firearms, really. It doesn't cover them at all. And the depth of content on each gun, and there are, I believe, 77 different guns covered in here, the depth of content on each one varies. Some of them there's very little information out there, and some of them didn't have a whole lot of ancillary equipment that went with them. Some of them, on the other hand, had a tremendous amount of equipment infrastructure and are quite well documented. Guns like the MG34 and MG42, where there's 3, 4, 5 different sets of armorers' equipment or gunners' equipment. And the gist of this book, as you can see looking through it, is basically show the kit itself fully assembled, and then show the kit with every piece pulled out and set in a nice organized pattern, and each item identified. And that information is invaluable. Now, there are going to be very few people who are going to find the entire book useful. I think for most people, there are going to be a few pieces here and there, probably by nationality, that are particularly useful, and the rest of it is interesting, but may never come up in your own collecting. However, having all of this in one volume is extremely helpful. The alternative is basically having a collection of foreign language manuals and the language skills required to read all of them, so that when you come up with some weird part, you try and guess what manual to read through, or if you have that gun, then you have to go through that manual and figure out what's what in the armorer's kits. This does a really great job of compiling a tremendous amount of that information in one place. As I said, it's not comprehensive. There are sections that are, some are more complete than others, based on what information is still available. And the coverage of accessories also varies from gun to gun. So there are some that have a wide variety of accessories identified. The accessories, things like optics or tripod adapters, there's not an intention in here to create a comprehensive list of, say, MG08 optics variations. Instead, it's a representative sample. Here's the optic, here's the case. There may be others like it or of slightly different patterns. The same thing applies to items like anti-aircraft sights, tripod adapters for guns where that's appropriate, gunner's kits, things like Portuguese MG13 gunner's kits, where you've got basically a block that goes under the bipod and a block that goes under the buttstock, and allows you to sort of duplicate the effect of a tripod, with graduated measurements for windage or for deflection and that sort of thing. That kind of equipment is covered in here. So overall, a very useful book for anyone who is interested in historical machine guns. Mr. Segel points out that this, given the price of machine guns today, this is actually an interesting area of collecting just by itself, without having to go through any of the legal hurdles or very much of the cost of having machine guns. A lot of the parts and accessories can be an equally satisfying sort of collecting endeavor for someone who's looking for a good subject for for a collection. Now, the book's relatively expensive. It's $125. It is available only directly from Mr. Segel. So I have a link to that website in the description text below. The website is MG Man, as in Machine Gun Man. So you can take a look at that, order a copy if you're interested in it. That $125 does include shipping, at least in the United States, so that's nice. Overall, I think this will be a very valuable addition to what is admittedly a relatively small part of the collecting community, but it's another one of those books that once it's sold out, almost certainly won't be reprinted. And when you try and get it after it's sold out, you're really going to be spending big bucks to find a copy. So if you're interested, pick up a copy now rather than waiting. And either way, check back in tomorrow for a cool forgotten weapon. Thanks for watching.